right, welcome to today's Q&A. My name is Jessie. We're talking trucking and trucking jobs available here at Decker. So again, April 22nd. Thanks you guys for joining me. I hope you have had a wonderful morning. And let's kind of dive in on what's going on here at Decker and all the new positions that we've got. We talked a little bit about them last week. I have even more updates for you on things that are going on. So yes, as always, this is a Q&A. We do it every Tuesday at noon central here on our YouTube channel. But if you have questions, we have our chat or our comments or whatever you want to call it over to, well, it's to my right. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, because I imagine that if you have a question, somebody else might too, and we want to know the answers. So feel free. If I don't have the answer and I need to go and get it, we'll talk about it next week. Or I will respond in the comments on the replay, so that you can at least get what you need, right? So again, thank you for joining me. If you want to speak to a recruiter directly, you can call them at 877-433-2537. One of the guys will help you out and hopefully answer any of those questions. Let's see. Wolf Transportation says, good afternoon. Coming to orientation on Monday, and what are the odds of getting into a Peterbilt instead of a Freightliner? Odds are good. Odds are very good. Now, I can't guarantee, because I am not 100% sure on what's currently available, but the odds are good because it's over 95%, on upward side of over 95% of our fleet are Peterbilts. So I'm guessing that's probably what you'll get into. Now, as far as equipment, for the rest of you, to kind of give you the details, most of our trucks are the 579 Peterbilts. Now, we have some 389 Petes that usually are assigned to some of our more veteran drivers who've been here over 15 plus years. We have some 589s that are the newest model. Those are the 2025s. And I think, I'm not positive, but I believe those are similar to the 389s that are also usually given to our more veteran drivers. And when I'm saying veteran drivers, I'm saying those individuals have been here at Decker for a while. They do it day in and day out, and have definitely earned some seniority. Basically, that's basically what I'm getting at. As far as equipment, though, I would expect a 579 to be what you get. Now, yes, we have some Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions, and those who have them seem to really like them. Everybody has their preference, though, right? We also have a few Volvos. As far as the refrigerated division is, the Volvos are usually the 860s that we have, and then the flatbed side, we have some 740 Volvos. But again, I don't want to downplay the fact that the 579 Petes are the large majority of our trucks. And all of our trucks are very well maintained. They are newer model. I think you're looking at 21 and older, or 21 and newer, an older number, 22, 23, 24, 25. So they're newer models, and they are all very, very well equipped. All kinds of amenities. You can expect a double bunk truck. You can expect it to have an APU and an inverter. Now, the APU units are usually the Thermo Kings. They're diesel powered. Yes, we have a solar panel on the truck to kind of extend the life of the APU, when starting it up and everything. But the APUs, they are solar panel, or they are diesel. I'm going all over. We also have, so the APUs, the inverters, we have the bunk heaters in the truck. We have TVs, they're 22-inch television with Epic View satellite streaming. So those are all in all of our trucks. That is company paid as well. And along with the Epic View TV streaming, we also have free Wi-Fi. So you can stream with Wi-Fi. They're smart TVs. So if you are a gamer, someone who likes to play PlayStation, I think Xbox. There's a few individuals who have hooked up their systems, and then of course with a smart TV, if you have subscriptions to say Netflix or Hulu, Disney. I mean, there's a ton, but there's over 100+ channels of DirecTV that are already included in our package that Decker pays for. Okay, so it's a 22-inch television. What else? Microwaves. We have microwaves in the trucks. We have refrigerators in the trucks, and the newer model refrigerators, or the newer model trucks, have the larger refrigerators. I think the new Pete's, the 589s, they have a 3.2 cubic foot. I think it's 3.2 because the other ones were 3.1, and we had some smaller than that as well. But yes, we're getting the bigger refrigerators, which is very nice, especially for some of you who are, especially if you're in our over the road refrigerated division, which is out a little bit of time. You know, you're out 2-3 weeks at a time, and it's nice to have a little bit of room in there, right? In addition to the refrigerator, the microwaves, we have CB units in the truck. They're air ride, both on the driver's side and the passenger side, of course, for the seats. So if you have a passenger, ages 10 and up, we do allow riders $25 a month for them to ride. And we also allow pets. So just kind of side note, as I'm talking amenities, I'm just going to take a moment to address. We do allow a dog, no more than 85 pounds, non-aggressive breed. It's $500 for the deposit for the dog. Now, if you have 2 dogs, as long as they're not more than 60 pounds combined, then you're good. You can have them ride with you. It's still a $500 deposit. Again, non-aggressive breed, and we do allow the pet. And also in Fort Dodge, we have a dog washing station as well. So if your dog gets a little stinky and needs a bath, there you go. Well, the truck's getting a bath, so can the dog. All right, I totally veered, but let's go back to the amenities. We have our lytics system, which is it's our large safety unit that's in the truck. It includes both inward and outward facing event recorders, lane departure, speed gauge, following distance. What else? There's a lot. Basically, what happens with the lytics system, if you have a critical event, which would be following too close or speeding or hard braking, those would trigger the camera to come on, and then it's a 20-second record. Now, when you turn the truck off for, say you're done for the day, the inward camera will turn off right away, but the outward one will be on for 4 hours, which has definitely been a safety, something that protected us, especially when parked in a parking area or a truck stop, when everybody else is parking too, right? Protecting our surroundings. Yeah, so the outward camera, that will stay on for 4 hours. The inward one, that'll shut off immediately. So that's part of the lytics system. And we'll talk a little bit more about the lytics, since that is part of our safety, or that helps to calculate our safety bonus. And it is bonus week this week, so we'll talk a little bit about that too. But more on the amenities, we have the CB units. Those are usually the Cobra 25 or the Cobra 29s. We've got a couple of each. Not in each truck, but we have some of the 29s and some of the 25s. As far as DriveWise and BestPass, we've got those in all of our trucks as well. We are equipped with the radio ready equipment, Sirius Radio, in the truck. You would have to have the subscription for that, whereas Decker holds a subscription for the streaming, the Epic View streaming. So we have that. As far as other amenities, what else can we ask for, right? I mean, that's a lot. I'm sure I'm missing some, but they're very well equipped trucks, and like I said, they're very well maintained. But we have a 24/7 maintenance roadside assistance as well. So if there was something that you ran into, maybe the APU unit wasn't working, or whatever it might be, we have our 24/7 roadside assistance that is available for you and there to help in case any of our equipment or amenities needs a little bit of troubleshooting or fixing. So yeah, we'll take care of that. Trailer included. All right. And again, so that's our equipment for the most part, mostly the 579 Peterbilts. And usually, so when it comes to being assigned a truck, you're usually assigned that truck on Wednesday. You'll go through orientation. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday orientation So it's just a 3-day. We pay you $500 for completing the orientation process. And then on Wednesday, when you're assigned your truck, you'll walk through it with our maintenance department. And the maintenance department will kind of go through a checklist of, this is what we have in the truck, this is how you use it. If you're having any problems, here's how you troubleshoot it. And as part of that, we have a workbook. I was trying to see if it's right handy, but it's not. It's in my filing cabinet back there. But we have a workbook. It's really some more of resources that you'll be able to use. There's not a lot of work that needs to be done with it, but it is a very handy book that goes along with our orientation, so that if you do come into a point where you have some troubleshooting that you need to do and you weren't sure how to use the APU unit, it'll show you how to do that. It'll help you walk through the steps and even access a video on how to troubleshoot. So we do provide quite a bit of resources, both digitally as well through video, as well as our physical workbook that'll help solve some of those problems. So, but that's basically orientation. We do have an online orientation that you complete ahead of time if you haven't already, and that is a number of modules, which modules can consist of either a video followed by a few questions. It might be an image followed by a few questions. Usually if it's an image, it's an interactive image. For instance, we've got the CVSA roadside inspection coming up here in I think it's the 13th through the 15th of May. And so that's coming up. Along with that, or something similar, I should say, is when you're going through the module, say you have an image of the truck and it's asking you what a proper pre-trip would be, it'll have all these clickable items on the picture, on the image, that will pop up, give you a little balloon explanation of what it is and what you're looking for when you're doing a pre-trip. That's a prime example of an interactive image that is one of the modules. And then following that, you'll have a number of questions in that as well. We also have a few articles in there that would be followed by a question. So the module is something informative, basically a video, an interactive image, or an article, followed by 1 to, I think the most I saw was 5 questions for each one. So those are those modules. You do that ahead of time. It's through our Luma platform, our e-network, our e-learning platform that you do ahead of time. We also have you do your physical and your drug tests ahead of time. We'll make the arrangement, so we will go ahead and schedule those for you so it's off your plate and easy. If you have a physical that's good for at least another 6 months, a year, whatever, we can use that usually. We'll just have to have you send over the long form. Now, if you don't have the long form, we'll probably just schedule you for a new physical. And then you'll also have the drug test. We do both the hair follicle and the urinalysis. We like to have those done ahead of time. It's way easier for you. It doesn't cut into our actual orientation time, and it just makes life easier altogether for the orientation process. Now, once you've completed that, we normally send you over a rental information. That's usually the transportation. Some people choose to fly, which is definitely an option, especially if you're coming from like Florida or Washington or somewhere quite the distance from Fort Dodge, Iowa, which is where we have orientation. But we'll make those arrangements for you. We do like to ask you what your preference is, because we have a repayment agreement that you sign, you recognize, and on that repayment agreement, it shows this is what the transportation was to get you to orientation. Now that repayment agreement, it only goes into action if you were to leave us within the first 6 months. So what I'm saying is it's irrelevant if you're here for 6 months or more. But each month we knock $100 off. At 6 months, it doesn't even matter if the expenses to get you here for orientation and go through the process, the hiring process was over, $1,000 or $2,000, whatever. At 6 months, it doesn't matter. It's wash and clean. But by this point, you may have already seen that too, coming in on orientation for Monday. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is orientation. You're dispatched out. You meet your driver leader, your recruiter, and everything. Usually Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll meet with several different managements, different departments, so that you've got some connections. So if you run into any problems, you've got, of course, your driver leader, but you've got other resources, other individuals that you can reach out to. Plus, we have an art program, and that is an ambassador program, which again is another individual that if you have a question, and I hear this a lot actually, I don't want to pester, I know my driver leader is busy, I don't want to pester them, but I have a quick question about benefits. That's what the ambassador is for, absolutely. That's what we're here for. So feel free to ask. Some of the driver leaders can answer those as well, but I don't think most of our driver leaders are ambassadors. I was trying to think off the top of my head. Some of them are, but not everybody. Well, Tim, how the heck are you? I was thinking yesterday, I have not heard from you lately. I hope you're doing well. Tim is owner-operator here at Decker, and I think I was going through the bonuses yesterday, and I came across, and I was like, man, I haven't heard from Tim forever. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. Anyways, so back to the orientation process and art program. If you have questions, you'll have contacts to reach out to so that you've got that support. Good. Yes. So once you've completed orientation, we get you dispatched, we put you to work, which is what you came for, right? To make you a little bit of money. Now you do get paid $500 for completing the three-day orientation, and you'll see that probably Friday. And then Friday is payday. So anything you get out in by Tuesday night, so tonight, will get paid Friday. That's usually the process. Now we have a minimum pay in several of our different divisions. So if you weren't able to rack up a whole lot of miles by when the time you were dispatched, say you were dispatched Thursday and you didn't get enough miles to make more than $1,000 by Tuesday night. Did I say that right? Yeah. So if you were dispatched on Thursday and you've got a couple of miles, but maybe you didn't run on Sunday, or maybe you headed home to get the rest of your stuff, or whatever the case might be, and then Tuesday night you would have still made maybe $900 for the week to get in. Well, then with the minimum pay, Decker makes up the difference on that, as long as you meet the requirements, which are be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week, no load refusals, no service failures, no late loads, no preventive accidents or incidents, and no CSA violations, and then of course getting your paperwork in on time, which is Tuesday night. So those all qualify you for the minimum pay. But in most cases, you're making more than the minimum anyway. So, and that's because your rate of pay per mile and the miles you run usually exceed that. But especially with the first week, it's really nice to know that you have that peace of mind, that security net there. Not all divisions have that. Our over-the-road refrigerated has $1,000. Our over-the-road flatbed has $1,000 minimum. Regional refrigerated is $1,000. And when I say regional, I'm talking 11 days out and 3 days home. And then our Midwest flatbed, that one is $1,450 a week versus $1,000. So that one's a little bit different. Lots of short hauls on that one. But good, yes. All right, back to work, Tim says. Well, I'm so glad to have you pop on. Thank you. So yeah, that's the minimum pay is there. It's a safety net. But you get your paperwork in by Tuesday night and you get paid Friday. But that's usually the orientation process itself. As far as equipment, we kind of went over that. Trailers are usually for the refrigerated division, are usually the Great Dane carrier units. With the flatbed, they're usually Wilson trailers there. Now, as far as different positions available, we do have our over-the-road refrigerated, which I mentioned is about 2 to 3 weeks out at a time, and then 5 days home. We have our more regional, which is 11 days out and 3 days home for the refrigerated division. And that just depends on where you live. So if you are in a specific area and you're wondering, hey, what do I have available here? Reach out. That's partially, put it in the chat, or this number here, 433-2537. That's the telephone number to get a hold of our recruiting department and ask those questions, right? And of course, any qualifying factors that might come in handy as well, or information that might come in handy. Then, as far as our hiring area for refrigerated, I do want to give you a heads up, not only our refrigerated, but also our flatbed. We have expanded in the hiring areas for that, and that is because we have been awarded, or we have had additional contracts that have increased our hiring area, allowing us to hire in areas that we haven't hired for in a while, because we've had those areas full with the amount of freight we've had, but because we have increased freight in them, now we have a need for more drivers out of those areas. So that's always a good thing, right? So again, 877-433-2537. If you were told you were out of the hiring area, a month or two ago, could be a totally different story at this point. So definitely give us a call to find out. Areas that I can, right off the top of my head, that I can tell you, Oklahoma is one that has opened up. Areas of Texas, especially Houston area, for refrigerated. Florida, Georgia, yeah, those are all areas that have opened up. More Denver. We've had a lot more of Denver open up. Areas that since I've started in 2010, I've been here since 2010. Those areas of Colorado, I don't remember having. So that has definitely opened up, calls that I used to get quite a bit. So great opportunity there. Also out west, we have, of course, areas of Washington, Northern Oregon, Utah. Idaho is opened back up. There's parts of Idaho, Boise, which is exciting to see. We get lots of inquiries out of there, and yes, we've opened those up. Also for refrigerated, we now have, now this one doesn't have a minimum pay, but we now have a home weekly, not only home weekly, but home on the weekends. So you are coming home on like a Friday night or a Saturday morning, you'll leave back out on Sunday night, but you'll have at least a 34, if not a 48, at home in the refrigerated division. Yes, it is a very specific area that we are hiring for, but if you want to give us a call, it's 877-433-2537. If you get a hold of the recruiting department, they'll tell you exactly where we are currently hiring for that position. So there's no confusion where we have that available. So for new applicants, if you are looking to come aboard to Decker, give us a call. We have home weekly, home on the weekend, home weekly. And then, of course, we've got over the road and more regional as well. So look forward to visiting with you about some of those options. With the home weekly, that one does not currently offer a sign-on bonus, whereas our other refrigerated divisions do offer sign-on bonuses for, again, that's refrigerated. We have a $4,000 and a $5,000 sign-on bonus available in some of our refrigerated divisions. In our flatbed division, we have an $8,000 sign-on bonus in our Midwest flatbed division. That's also home weekly, by the way. And that one does have a minimum pay of $1,450. So if you are looking to do flatbed, you're looking to do the Midwest, this is a perfect time of year to get started, by the way. If you're new to flatbed or want to get into it, this is the time. So get a hold of us, 877-433-2537. And we can train you in flatbed if you don't have experience, but we can also get you going. If you've got experience, even quicker start time, right? Get you moving a little bit faster. So 877-433-2537. Excellent. We also have over the road flatbed as well. That one has a $4,000 sign-on bonus. Now the sign-on bonuses pay out at 6 months, 9 months, and 1 year. So that's how those payouts go. And usually, like with the $4,000 sign-on bonus, it'll be $1,000 at your 6-month anniversary, $1,000 at your 9-month anniversary, and the remaining $2,000 on your 1-year anniversary. And then let's talk Midwest flatbed. I'm bouncing around here. But Midwest flatbed, that's home weekly, the $1,450 a week, that has the $8,000 sign-on bonus. So it goes $2,000 at 6 months, $2,000 at 9 months, and the remaining $4,000 on your 1-year anniversary. So that's how that one plays out. What am I missing? The $5,000 sign-on bonus, that's also available in flatbed. that one pays out 1,500, 1,500, and 2,000, right? Yeah, I just did math. Sometimes we worry, but sometimes I can do it. All right, so those are some of the available positions. Again, reach out to us at 877-433-2537 if you want some more details on that. For the home weekly refrigerated division that I brought up, we do have, it's not unlimited positions. I don't want to give you that. We do have a couple though. And anywhere from Indianapolis over to Cincinnati or Columbus, Cleveland, Detroit, back to Indianapolis, anything in between there. So like Dayton, Ohio, or Ann Arbor or something like that. Those are all within the hiring area for that home weekly refrigerated division. So reach out to recruiting to get more details on that one. And again, I should mention that qualifications, no more than 2 tickets within the last 36 months. We can work with 1 within the last 12 months, no more than that. No more than 2 incidents and they can't be major moving violations. If it's a following too close or a 15 over ticket or an erratic lane change, those would disqualify you for 3 years. So they'd have to be at least 3 years old. Incidents such as a backing incident or turning that we can work with, but like a rear end collision or a DOT recordable accident has to be at the very minimum 3 years old. Reckless, careless, none of that in the last 3 years. And of course, we're looking for good work history as well. So, some like with the refrigerated sign-on bonus, if you have to have at least 2 years of experience for the refrigerated sign-on bonus, and no more than 3 jobs within the last 18 months. I had to think about that. I couldn't remember. So no more than 3 jobs in the last 18 months in order to qualify for the sign-on bonus. And again, that's just for the refrigerated division. So let us know if you got more questions on that one. What else can I tell you? Details. We have our bonus week is going, or just happened. We just paid out for our scorecard and our safety bonuses. Let me tell you about those. All right. So our safety bonus is based off of our lytics system. And ideally, you want a safety score of 0. That's like the best. That's the bee's knees. That's what we want. Now, if you have like a 0.5 or something like that, they go up in very small increments, obviously. But you'll still get a bonus, and the bonus is a penny per mile for all the miles you completed for that previous month. So I'm looking at my calendar over here. For everything that you completed within the month of March, you get paid, right? Yeah, for everything you completed in March, you get paid for April bonus, which is right now. And then same with the scorecard, which the scorecard, instead of 1 cent a mile like the safety, is up to 4 cents a mile as a company driver, up to 3 cents a mile as a lease operator or owner operator here at Decker. So with the extra 4 cents a mile and the safety bonus combined, you can get an extra 5 cents a mile on all the miles that you completed for the month. So yeah, it definitely adds up. I think the average, off the top of my head, I might have to cheat and pull up my my bonus information, but I think the average was over 240 for combined. Yeah. So for the owner operators, it was over 240, almost 250 just for the scorecard bonus, and then another 210 on average for the safety bonus on the owner operator lease purchase side. As far as the company side, we were seeing averages of another 300, 350, probably more, closer to 350 for the average between the scorecard and the safety bonus. So combined, we were seeing about that. We paid out over almost $59,000 just in bonuses for March bonuses. We had quite a few perfect scores, and for the safety and scorecard. I think Tim, that's when I brought up Tim, he had a perfect scorecard, which means he had 1,000 points. The scorecard, which is different than the safety bonus, the scorecard takes into account preventable accidents and CSA violations. If you had any of those, you'd lose points on that. 1,000 points is is what you want to get, right? But then we also have fuel compliance and idle time and miles and on-time delivery and claims. Those all factor in for the scorecard. And ideally, if you have a good scorecard, then you go into the running for the driver of the month, which we'll talk about next week. But the driver of the month, that gets you in the running for the driver of the year, and that's where the big bonuses happen, the end of the year bonuses. So we'll talk more about that too as that comes about. But congratulations to all of those who had perfect scores for the owner operator and company drivers. So yeah, definitely paid out well. But if you want to speak to one of our recruiters, please reach out to us